Welcome into Arsenal Report, and the big news in the last day is Rodrygo. Not only does he want out of Real Madrid, but it seems that Arsenal are already at the table for the young Brazilian who, if you remember, is more comfortable on the left side than the right side. Real Madrid signed him around the same time they signed Vinny Jr., and a lot wondered how it was going to work out. He's played a little bit as a false nine for them. He's played a lot out on that right wing for them, but truly he's at his best playing off the left wing, and we've seen it for Brazil. We've seen it for Real Madrid in the periods where Vinny hasn't been in the side. He has the versatility of playing as a number 9, which is a good thing to have considering our number 9 issues over the past year. But Rodrygo, this is the kind of statement signing that Arsenal really need to make. This is the kind of player who has flair, who has finishing ability, who's done it at the highest level. We're not talking about Sesko, not even Leao, who's not done it at the truly highest level. A player like Rodrygo, who has done it in Champions League finals. He's done it for his country. He's been better than Vinicius for his country. He's done it at so many different positions. This would be a true statement signing this summer, and it puts a lot less pressure on the number 9 signing, if you ask me, because with a front three of Havertz, Rodrygo, and Saka, that's plenty good to win the league and win the Champions League. I know people here aren't the biggest fans of Kai Havertz, but I know we all saw what we were missing with Kai Havertz while he's been out, and you replace Martinelli and Trossard with Rodrygo, who is the best combination of the both, who has transitional inevitability, who can play as a touchline winger, who can play all the way in through the middle. That would be an unbelievable statement signing from Andrea Berta. And I think it's the kind of signing that Berta is better suited to getting done than Edu was. It's one where you have to negotiate, where you have to probably pay some agent fees, the kinds of things that Arsenal aren't used to doing, but need to start doing in this transfer window. And to start this window off with Zubimendi and then Rodrygo would be an unbelievable start to the summer before we even really go into that big signing. And I think Rodrygo, although probably in previous years looking at 100 million, I think he might be available in that 70 million range, which is a huge difference. That's another 30 million that can be spent towards the striker. And with that, we've had a lot of striker talk on the timeline in the last couple of days. And it appears, and I don't know how reliable this is, but it does appear that Mikel Arteta and Andrea Berta are not aligned on who they'd like to be our number 1 striker target. Obviously, Isak is that number 1 striker target, but I'm not really considering that at the moment because if Newcastle do make Champions League, and it does seem that they will, Isak is not leaving. He's going to stay there. He loves it there. He's flying high there. The opportunity to fight for the Champions League, to potentially fight for the Premier League, he has everything he needs there. He's settled. He's on a long-term contract. And then it comes down to the second choice striker. And it seems that Arteta is more interested in Benjamin Sesko, where I would agree with him. Yet the new technical director, Andrea Berta, would like to go for Gyökeres. And to me, they're both risky. But Gyökeres obviously has done it already for so much longer, just based off of age. He scored 50 goals in back-to-back seasons for Sporting Lisbon, but we don't think that he's going to get the kind of space that he's had to operate in and achieve the same kind of goal-scoring tally. And if he's not able to do that, his all-around game does not excite me nearly as much as Benjamin Sesko. I would side with Arteta. To me, the biggest issue is how do we get our technical director and our manager on the same page? Because that's going to be key for this summer and moving forward. It felt like Arteta and Edu were too much on the same page. Like, there was no saying no to what Arteta wanted, and the two of them are so aligned. I like the fact that Berta and Arteta are going to, go back and forth, have to prove their point, have to actually make a decision here. And it's not just going to be, oh, this was a better market value. No, this is about more than just market value. This is about making the signing of this project the number 1 need this project has had over the last couple of years. And I still side with Arteta on Benjamin Sesko, but Berta has done very well throughout the years. The one thing he has struggled with is identifying strikers. He signed Felix for a massive amount of money. I think he brought Morata to Atletico for a big fee, and that didn't necessarily work out. So I would side with Arteta on this. He was right about Kai Havertz. He was right about Gabriel Jesus, if not for the injury woes. Benjamin Sesko, his ball striking could be game-changing for us, and he doesn't need the kind of space that Gyökeres needs in order to operate. He's so much more athletic, so much more raw talent there, and I'd really expect us to go for him should we not get Alexander Isak. And a surprising link we've seen over the last few days is Andre Santos, the Chelsea player on loan at Strasbourg, and the midfielder who has been very, very good for Strasbourg, getting them maybe into the Champions League next year, depending on what happens in the last couple of match weeks, but definitely into European football. They would not be there without him. This is a true box-to-box midfielder who I think is seen a little bit more as kind of a Partey replacement in terms of the need in midfield. If Jorginho and Partey both leave, we do need two midfielders in, one of those being Zubimendi. And Andre Santos, for around £45 million, could be a really good fit there. A nice young age profile of 21 years old. He can add some goals when needed. Super athletic, really good ball winner, really good at covering space. He could play alongside Rice. He could play alongside Zubimendi. He could play on his own. A lot of interesting things. I think it would be hard to get him out of Chelsea. It seems that he is part of Chelsea's long-term plans, but they have Lavia. They have Caicedo. They have Enzo Fernandez. They have a lot of players in that position where I don't think that Santos will see as much game time in his future. But if Partey and Jorginho do leave, Santos is a player who could get 25 to 30 matches in next year for Arsenal, start 15 to 20 of them, play in the Champions League, definitely achieve a lot of the goals that are on his list of things to do, probably quicker than he could at Chelsea, which is crazy to say because obviously Arsenal are challenging for more than Chelsea are, but Chelsea specifically in that position are really well stocked and all with very young age profiles, whereas there seemingly will be an opening for a player like Andre Santos at Arsenal. I don't expect it to happen just because Chelsea, the price, and the long-term contract he's on, but definitely one to keep an eye on. And lastly is Dean Huijsen, who we've spoken quite a bit about, but both Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein are saying it really does seem to be between Arsenal and Liverpool. Fab seems to think Real Madrid are interested. I'm not sure they can afford him, but the question is this deal just too good to pass up for Arsenal? I think that's why we're even in the market for it. 50 million can be paid over 3 years. That's basically 15 million pounds a year. That's nothing for a talent of this age and this ability, someone who's done it already in the Premier League. Such a huge talent, Dean Huijsen is, and he can play as left center back. He can play to right center back. He can play in a lot of different systems. Super athletic, really comfortable with the ball at his feet. Has some room to grow, but the idea that you could flip Kivior this summer for probably 30-ish million pounds, which would cover the first two installments of the Dean Huijsen signing, it does seem like that would be unbelievable business to get him in. And, you know, in case of any injuries, this is a player you feel super comfortable with in the Premier League. Not that I don't feel super comfortable with Kivior considering how he's played this year, but Huijsen just has done it a lot more consistently. Obviously came from Juventus with a great background. He's going to be a major part of the Spanish core over the next 10 years for that national team, and played in a similar-ish system under Areola at Bournemouth. Just a player I think fits this Arsenal team a lot better than Kivior does long-term. And Kivior, I'd like to sell high based off of this last run of form. If Kivior doesn't get sold this summer and he basically doesn't play at all next year, you're going to see his value cut in half. His value will not get higher than it is right now, and there are a lot of suitors in the Serie A who would want Jakub Kivior. So I think you flip Kivior, you bring in Huijsen, and you've made a very, very good summer window here. We're talking about Zubimendi, Huijsen, potentially Rodrygo, and a striker, and then maybe one more midfield signing. That is a spectacular window with the likes of Wineri and Lewis Skelly becoming major parts of the team, and Max Dowman probably getting integrated as the year goes on. Could be a very special summer upcoming for Arsenal with Andrea Berta at the helm, helping Mikel Arteta along. Thanks for watching Arsenal Report. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and we will talk to you tomorrow.